Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to FatCatTech. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Panasonic HDC-SD90. This is a small camcorder released by Panasonic in 2011, and it's got a few interesting features that I'm going to go over. I'm also going to go in depth in the menu as well. We're also going to look at some test footage, and I'm also going to go over the box. Before I begin, I'm going to go over the box here, and as you can see, we're going to start off on the front. It states the brand, the model number in even bigger letters. It states that it records in 1920 by 1080 progressive. This camcorder records in 1080 60p, which you will see later in the test footage. It states full HD, 40 times intelligent zoom. You can also take it up to 1500 times using the built-in digital zoom. 28mm wide-angle lens, and it's got power optical image stabilization, a hybrid mode, and it has an intelligent auto function. It's made in Japan, and it's also the color black. It can support SDXC cards all the way up to 64 gigs, and it's also compatible with a 3D lens that you can screw in to the lens thread. On the other side of the box, it's pretty much got the same information, but it's got a picture of a kid blowing bubbles. Don't know why. On this side of the box, it has all this copyright information and stuff about the logos and all that. And on the other side here, it has the compatibility information. So I'll do a close-up on that, and a close-up on that, so that you can read it if you'd so please. On the top, it states all this information here, which is covered up by some Costco stickers that I'm not going to try to get off, because you can see that was already a failed attempt there. But down here it states some of the notable features: HDMI out, the Dolby Audio, AVC HD, and the SDXC, and VRA Link, which is a Panasonic TV model. And it says you can operate the camera by a remote control. Now I'm not sure how they implemented that, because as you can see, there's at least no obvious IR input, unless they embedded it in the flash somehow, which is possible, you know. So we look on the side here, we can see it is a glossy finish, which means it's going to be more susceptible to fingerprints, which is a downside, but I think that the glossy plastics are much higher quality feeling than what some of the new camcorders use, where they have like the sort of matte black feel to them. I'm just not a fan. But you can see brand name Panasonic HDC-SD90, full HD 1920 by 1080 progressive on the side, and 5 megapixels still image recording. So your AVC HD and SDXC. On the front it shows the flash, the automatic lens cover here. It has the words optical zoom for some reason. You can see your focal length and the lens thread, which is 41.5mm. Now if that's not to your liking, you can always buy the threads that'll step it up and step it down to different sizes and stuff. And of course you can also get the 3D lens, which is available on eBay. They're kind of on the expensive side, but I would assume it's worth it if that's what you're looking for. Down here you can see we have the stereo microphone, and in between it is a single LED light, which gets its job done well in my opinion. The microphone quality is, the microphone is okay. It's okay. It's an average camera microphone. It captures bass well, and it's not too it's not tinny or anything like that. I feel like it may peak sometimes, but that's just my opinion. I'll leave you to see that for yourself in the test footage. On the top we have the zoom slider here. It is a variable speed zoom, and it also controls the volume and I think the magnification of pictures during playback. Picture button, which will take a picture, obviously. On the top we can see 40 times intelligent zoom and the 28mm wide. And on this side we have your hand strap, which is of decent quality. It's pretty much the same hand strap that Panasonic used on the SDR S50. So if you need like a baseline for another camcorder you may have, it's the exact same as that one. There's your DC input for your charger. And on the back we have the record button. The battery, which is the VW-VBK180. This is the battery that would have come with the camcorder had you bought it brand new. So if we open up the camcorder here, we can see we have a few extra buttons in here. We have the power button, which if you're rotating your screen, that can get in the way sometimes. So just a quick heads up, but it probably won't be a problem for most people. HDMI out, the AV multi, the microphone input. One of the complaints with this camcorder and other camcorders like it, most notably the Sony HDR-CX160, is that while it has this microphone input here, it does not have a headphone output, which can become a problem if you try to record audio and you won't know if it's messed up or not until after you're done recording, instead of while you're doing it live. 1080 60p button. I find it kind of interesting that they chose to put this as a button. You just press it once when you get the camcorder brand new and it'll stay on the entire time. You can turn it off and it'll still stay on, so it's okay. Image stabilization button, the intelligent auto and manual control, USB out, and the shoe adapter. That's something about this camcorder, is that you can actually put in a shoe adapter so that you can mount things like lights and microphones on it. Unfortunately, I do not have one with me right now, but you can get them for anywhere between $10 to $30 on eBay. Speaking of price, this camcorder can be bought from anywhere between... This camcorder will probably cost you anywhere between $70 to $130, depending on what comes with it. But now that we're done going over the body of the camcorder, I'm now going to go in depth in the menu system here. So we can see here we have the menu button, and we have this little slider here. We can see, if we go to the next page, it has the zoom controls and an extra record button, which, interestingly enough, I just figured this out. If you actually leave it alone, they'll stay on the screen, which is pretty interesting. I didn't know that. We have the zoom, touch and drag, which will just zoom very slow. You can see that zooms very slowly. The autofocus tracking, so you just tap on something and it'll follow it. And then we have this thing right here. I have no idea what this does. It's just a square with a hand on it. It's not like... I really don't know what that does. The fader, pre-recording, it'll record about 5 seconds before, so that when you press the record button, you get sort of a buffer space. The video light, which works like so, and it has an auto feature as well. And when I turn off the lights, the video light turns on, so that might be a useful feature. Telemacro, which I thought was something only specific to Sony camcorders, but this camera also has it. And I might actually be a little too close here. Grid line, the smile shot, which will take a picture if it detects a smile. And it's also got backlight compensation. Now you can see there were 4 pages to this menu, but if you turn off the intelligent auto mode, not only do you get extra controls for focus, white balance, the shutter, and iris, you also get extra menu options in here, such as intelligent contrast. You can see what kind of difference that makes for that camera. You also get the night mode, which isn't too special. Basically what night mode does is it blows all the brightness. Actually, I used it during twilight, and it basically made everything look all like muddy and blurred, and it just doesn't look nice for anything that doesn't really involve a tripod or any moving object. Soft skin mode, that's also a feature on this camera, and those are those extra options you get there. Now we go into the menu here and we go into the record setup. Remember, I just turned on manual mode. You can see we have 7 pages, but on intelligent auto mode you only get 4 pages. So remember, these are the options you get when you have intelligent auto turned off. Scene mode, it has the basic scene selection modes. Zoom mode, intelligent zoom, turn it off, you'll get up to 26 times optical zoom. Or you can have the intelligent zoom turned on and it'll go up to 40 times. Or you can turn on digital zoom up to 60 times and digital zoom up to 1500 times. Now you're not going to need the 1500 times in the digital zoom. You probably won't even need up to 60 times really, because at that point it starts to get a little bit grainy, and so it's probably not going to be too useful. Recording mode, that's grayed out because I have the 1080 60p option enabled, but if we come back out here and turn that off, we could see we have these different options for 1920 by 1080, and I'm assuming that's 30 frames per second. It might be 60i, but none of the websites I've been to or the literature that would have come with the camcorder really, that I've seen, they don't really explain it, so I'm gonna assume that's 30 frames per second. You have HA mode, HG, HX, and HE, and it has an iframe mode as well. HE is long play mode. These both are medium picture, and these are highest quality video. Face recognition, pretty much basic face recognition here. Name display, probably for face recognition. Face framing, the hybrid image stabilization, the OIS lock display, the fade color guidelines, auto slow shutter in 2D, auto slow shutter in 3D, AGS, which will stop the recording if you put the camcorder sideways or upside down. Backlight compensation, intelligent contrast, soft skin mode, telemacro, color night recording, video light. We've been over all those. Digital cinema color, which will record an XV compatible format. I'm not really sure what the camera means by that, but it just says here you can see, it says it will record in a brilliant range of colors, but it says it requires XV color ready device. Now I'm assuming that means something like a monitor, but I'm assuming that means it will record in XV color mode, which again is something I thought was only for Sony cameras, but it looks like Panasonic included it in this one. Shooting guide, wind noise canceller, zoom mic. Don't turn on zoom mic ever. Don't ever use that. Zoom mic is a gimmick. The microphone level, the picture adjustments. So you could see that there. It'll pretty much just do the same stuff as it does in that little side menu that was over here. And the manual focus assist. If we go into the picture menu, we can see we only get 3 options here. We get the size between 4.5 megapixels or 2.1 megapixels. The quality between 6 squares or 3 squares. I'm not even joking. It doesn't actually tell you what it does. So that's what that is. And smile shot is what takes the picture when it detects a smile. In the setup menu, we also have another 7 pages, of which include clock settings, setting the world time, the date and time, the date format, the zoom recording display, the external display, what to display on an external TV or something if you plug it in, economy mode, which will turn the camera off, quick power on, quick start mode, the alert sounds, the power LCD just controls the brightness, and then LCD settings, which also controls the brightness and the contrast, AV multi between component or AV out. The component out you can set between 1080i and 480i, HDMI resolution between 1080p, 1080i, and 480p. There's that VRL link option, which will let you use the remote from the TV. TV aspect ratio between 16:9 and 4:3. Initialize your settings, which will just reset them all. The number system reset, that's for the file numbering on your SD card. You can format your card, you can see your card status, calibrate your touchscreen. You can also have a demo mode here. The OIS demo, which will just display how the image stabilization is working, and then you get the language. And also this little eye down here, you might have seen me using it. Basically, if you just tap on it and then tap on an option, it'll tell you what that option does. So I've kind of gone over this camcorder, and before I get to the test footage, I'm going to go ahead and talk about a few things that I've noticed with the test footage. So something I've noticed with the test footage is that the colors, they look weird. I don't really know how to describe it. Some of the colors, they just don't look the way they should, and that's all I can really go to describe it. I'm just gonna let you be the judge of that. Another thing about this camcorder that I've noticed is that it actually gets very hot. When I was going over the menus, it's even a little warm right now. I haven't used it for very long periods of time, but I'm sure that must have some kind of negative effect on the camcorder in some way. I'm not sure how, since I haven't used it for a long amount of time. Alright, so this is some test footage on a breezy November day. As you can see, I'm recording in 1080 60p mode and the intelligent auto. I'm not going to test out any of the other recording modes just because it'll probably look the same. We're just going with basic test footage of what you can expect right out of the box. Now, I haven't noticed too many problems, but the color thing I was talking about earlier happens when you turn off Intelligent Auto. You can see how the saturation is different on the grass there, and when I pan up to the sky, you can see, I actually don't know if you can see it or not, there's some green outlines on the branches there. I don't know why it does that, but it doesn't do that in Intelligent Auto, which I just turned back on. Also, with the digital and intelligent zoom turned off, you can get up to 26 times, which is right about there. I have intelligent zoom turned on, so it's going to go up to 40 times now. See how far that goes. Alright, it's up to 40 times. You can see image stabilization has a little bit more trouble, but it's still pretty good. I have the digital zoom now all the way up to 60 times, so we're going to see how far that goes. See how far that goes. Not too terrible quality loss, but it does get a little bit grainy. At least it does in darker areas. And now 1500 times. This is the I would not recommend digital zoom category because you just don't need it. But you can see, I mean, if I had something really far away to focus on, I would. That's about 700 times, and you can see how terrible it looks there, so you really don't need 1500 times, but it's good to have the option, I guess. So I'm going to test out the image stabilization, so I'm going to zoom all the way in, that's all 26 times, and I'm just going to turn it off. Alright, that's it, turned off. I'm trying to hold the camera as still as I can, and it's not doing too well, so let's see what happens when we turn it on. Boom, right? That looks pretty good. That's with the hybrid image stabilization turned on. I haven't really noticed the difference with that feature turned off, so I don't think it makes that much of a difference. But maybe it does, I don't know. This camcorder also comes equipped with a telemacro mode, like the Sony camcorders, and I'm going to test that out right now on that piece of grass. So that's telemacro mode. You can see the background is just completely blurred out. And there it is. When we bring it back to the grass, focus on that. So I'm trying to get about as close as it can go before it starts to lose focus, and it's doing a fantastic job. Now the thing about this telemacro mode on this camera that's different from the Sony cameras that I've tested in the past is that this actually will support the digital zoom. So if you have that turned on, the telemacro mode will actually not be affected by it, which I'll show you just now. Let me turn on digital zoom and I'll get back to you. I've still got telemacro mode on, and as you can see, it is actually supporting the digital zoom, which that's all 1500 of it, by the way, in case you were wondering. And when I zoom out, and when it starts to zoom out into the optical zoom, it'll turn off. And you can see it turned off there. So you can see here, the wheat is stabilized. We bring it back in, it'll support it. But when we take it out to the optical zoom, you can see it lost focus there because the telemacro turned off. That's pretty cool. And that's something that is not fully supported by the older Sony cameras that I've tested that included this function. So that's kind of a bonus with this camcorder. No. Here's more of the telemacro function on that spider web. So you can see I'm using the digital zoom and it's keeping focus. Well, for the most part, the quality is just lower because digital zoom does that, so. And then it's disabled because I use the optical zoom. That's pretty cool. I like that. I like that feature. That's pretty nice. It's very windy out today. It's not too cold though, just a little chilly. That's zoomed in. That's zoomed in to about 120 times. That's 350. It goes really fast. It's a little difficult to keep track, and the stabilization is doing a very good job. So. Hello, kitty. So it's just a little bit after sunset. It's about 6:10. Sunset happened at 6:06. And this is the camcorder in twilight quality light. So you can sort of see that. It's November. I don't know if the time of year really counts on that. I mean, twilight is twilight, so. But you could see, there's it sort of focusing on the sky. You can see the low shutter mode is kind of coming into play here. I'm going to turn on Panasonic's signature low light mode, and we're going to see how that performs in this kind of video, or in this kind of lighting quality. You can see I think it's a little over bright. I think it's a little too bright. Go up. You can see that. We go down here. So that's how that performs. You can see how that system works. Or what I mentioned earlier, it makes the video very muddy. And I'll zoom on that. Normally on Panasonic camcorders, it's not a good idea to zoom with this function enabled. It's not a good idea to zoom with this function on, because it's not great. It's not a great function. So I'm going to turn that off. You can see it's getting kind of darker by the minute. Zoom into the darker area over there, and it doesn't look too grainy. I think the video just made itself darker for some reason. If I turn on I have it on manual mode, I want to turn it on to auto. You can see that made it brighter out here. The video light is also on this whole time. So we're going to go around and do a few little videos in the low light here of twilight, of the sunset, I guess. I'm going to do a distance test with the video light on auto mode. Just a few inches away. I'd say I'm probably about 6 inches away from these bricks here. I'm just going to keep going farther away here. I'm probably 4 feet away from these bricks now. I'm now probably 10 feet away from the bricks, and I'd say I'm now 15 feet away. So you can see that's how far the video light goes. At this distance, I would say it's not effective at all, and I'd say it's not useful from this distance, but from 10 feet plus, from 10 feet and closer, I would say so. I'd say it's pretty useful. So it looks like this is about the lowest the camera is able to go on auto mode and still be able to really make out any kind of details on objects that are brighter in color, at least, like those chairs and the sidewalk. But that's what the video light is for. But if you didn't have it, or if it broke or whatever, this is probably about as good as it would get, and so that's the low light quality. I've noticed that running this camera for a long time, it's gotten extremely hot, and I haven't really been running it for all that long. And it's also making a whistling sound, which I find to be kind of interesting. I don't know if that shows up in the video or not, but that might be a flaw in the camcorder's design. So that's it. That was the test footage. If I had to rate this camcorder, I'd probably give it a 6 out of 10 because it's cool. It's cool. It's a cool camera, but the video quality isn't too high. It doesn't have a headphone output. And, you know, the weird color thing, which maybe, you know, I might be the only one who noticed it, or maybe I'm colorblind or something, but that being said, this is still an interesting professional camera. Would I recommend it to someone? Yeah, I think so. It makes a decent budget camcorder as well. But for that price, you can get something like a Sony Handycam HDR CX, I don't know, 200 series probably. Alright everyone, I have been FatCatTech. I look forward to seeing you in the next... Luca! Kitty! You wanna leave, kitty? I look forward to seeing you guys in the next review. Hopefully that one won't take like 3 months to come out, so... Thanks for watching. I've been FatCatTech. Goodbye.